Ukraine in the house. We've got Hawaii, Aloha, South Africa, Pakistan, India. Who else do we have here? New Zealand. Wow, New Zealand, you must be up very early in the morning. Welcome. Congratulations. Estonia, Dubai. If I missed your country, I'm so sorry. USA in the house. Estonia again. Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Venezuela, Namibia, Venezuela again. Belgium, Germany. Welcome. Welcome to the call, El Salvador, Brazil. Welcome to the call, everyone. We're going to get started in a second here. Hey, look, as we're getting people into the room here, there are a few spots left, but not much. So you might want to tag or just send a quick message out to your team. They're not going to want to miss this call. Why is that? Because we're in week one of our 90-day game plan. It's going to be a full 12-day or 12-week 12 weeks of just awesomeness. I mean, this is going to be amazing. So I want to say good morning to everyone, good afternoon, or good evening. You know, again, for New Zealand, I don't know, maybe it's good morning. It must be 3 a.m. or something like that for you. But I'm honored that you've joined us today for this weekly Aurum Mastery. Now, we're in the 90-day game plan. This is week number one. My recommendation is grab a pen and a piece of paper, and you want to write this down. And the Mastery 90-day game plan, really, these calls will be recorded. So I encourage you not only to come onto the live call, because this is where the action happens. This is where the room is packed. We've got a lot of energy here today from all over the world, as you can see. But really, this is the live call, but we also record these calls in real time, and we put them up in a couple days. So those that miss the call within your organization, or those like people in New Zealand who are sleeping right now, Australia is sleeping, and some parts of the world, they're just not going to, Philippines, I think it could be midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning by this time as we record. Here, they're not able to, but they wait a couple days and then they can watch the recording. But there's nothing like a live call. And I want to also just take a second before we get started, as more people are piling in here, just to thank the translators. We have 10 languages right now being translated, and I hope I don't go too fast. Now, on the replay, it's only in English, unfortunately. But again, if you have other languages, you want to get them on the live call and click on that translator button, and you can hear from this call in your language. So if you're building a team and people speak different languages, chances are we've got 10 right now. But where can you find the YouTube? It's at YouTube at Aurum_Foundation. So you go to YouTube and you click in the little @ sign, Aurum_Foundation. That'll bring you to the channel. And now, if you're watching this on YouTube, let us know also where you're calling in from in the comments right below there. And don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss out on a Mastery episode, and send this episode again to your network of partners. And as we go through the first week of our 90-day game plan, you'll start to realize, wait a second here, what if my organization had access to this information? Do you think your organization would start to grow bigger, better, faster, stronger, or would it slow them down because they took an hour a week to come and learn and to come and dig in here? I know we have a lot of people on this call. It's a jam-packed call, and some of you are brand new partners. You're brand new. Maybe it's your first week or your first month just getting started with Aurum. You're getting your feet wet, and maybe the first time joining the Mastery call. So just in case you and I haven't met, my name is Shane Morand, and I'm honored to be Aurum's Chief Network Development Officer. Great to meet you, and hopefully we'll be meeting you in person, either at an event somewhere around the world or at maybe even a blockchain event. Who knows? But I'm going to start off today's call by sharing, of course, for everyone, Aurum's very powerful vision. And we want to start this call off because no matter how, and if you already know the vision, I want you to lip sync with me. You know that the vision is real simple, and I get fired up every time I talk about this, because what a great vision that we have here is to create 1,000 millionaires who are not millionaires right now. All right, 1,000 millionaires who are not millionaires right now. So if you're not a millionaire yet, well, I'm talking to you. All right, we want to identify 1,000 volunteers all over the world in whatever language. We want 1,000 people to say, I'm in. I'm going to commit. I'm going to stick with this. I want to get this done. And we want you to volunteer to become the next Aurum millionaire. And how do you do that? By using the Aurum's AI finance platform, and not only using it, to generate your crypto, to magnify your crypto, but also to promote it to people that you know, like, and trust, to promote it to new customers, to join the platform, to promote it to new potential partners. So again, I'm excited to be with you here today. It's my pleasure, and it's not just going to be another training today. Not what we're talking about. This is the first week to a journey that we're taking together with the Aurum ecosystem, and a 90-day commitment to not only growth, but to leadership and to duplication. And most importantly, we want to produce results, right? We can talk all day long and you can learn all day long, but if you're not applying what you're learning, then you're wasting your time, right? And that's why I do recommend that you grab a pen and a piece of paper. As I go through some of the instructions, you want to write them down so you can go back to your notes. You're going to have a whole week to practice what we talk about today, to get to your team, to make sure that your team is in sync with the simple actions that we're going to take every single week that are just going to build one on top of the next, on top of the next. And so now, if you're here now, welcome back. If you've been here last week, we talked about the pre-launch and what we're about to do in this 90-day game plan and this 90-day mastery series. And I'm really, really excited to begin the first practical week because why is that? Because we're going straight to the foundation, to the very, very foundation of referral marketing. So like you're building a house, we're about to build a massive skyscraper, all right, together. In the next 90 days, we're going to build a massive skyscraper together. But without a foundation, without a strong foundation, you build that skyscraper, it's going to fall over. Okay, I hope this makes sense. And again, sorry for the translators. I get fired up and excited if I'm going too fast. I am so sorry. Let me get us some water here. All right, so if you can master the skill that I'm going to introduce you to today, you can change the way you build your network forever, all right? With this one skill that is the foundational skill that not only you need to master, but you also need to master the skill of teaching it to your leadership, to your team, to your network as you grow. And as you start applying these skills, this one particular skill, you start applying this skill that I'm going to share with you today, and then you start applying it and go, man, this is easy. As soon as you start saying, this is easy, I can do this, you're going to do more and more. And as you continue to say, this is easy, you're going to easily be able to teach it because it's easy, all right? And so what am I talking about? I'm talking about the skill of the daily invitation. Write this down. This is what we're talking about today. We're talking about the daily invitation, and some of you are going to put an S on that, the daily invitations. Now, I want to be really, really clear here. The invitation is not just one of the skills and one of the top skills that you can master in referral marketing. It's one of the most important skills in referral marketing. And why is that? Because without an invitation or without invitations, there can be no new conversations. Can you understand that? If you're not inviting, there's no conversations that are taking place. And if there's no new conversations taking place, there are no new presentations. Does this make sense? It's so simple. And without presentations, what happens? There's no decisions. People aren't deciding to become an Aurum customer. They're not deciding to become a partner. And everything starts with the invitation, right? So we're going to talk about the skill of inviting today, and we're going to break it down so it's so easy and simple. Everybody can do it, regardless of your background, regardless of how old you are, regardless of if you've got money in the bank right now or you don't, regardless if you're making a lot of money right now, or you're just getting started trying to get enough money to make your first deposit, right? It doesn't matter. And without customers, by the way, and without partners, there's no growth. Okay, can you see? And right now, Aurum is growing very, very, very fast. So there's a lot of inviting going on there. This is great, really, really great. So today, we're going to keep this simple. We're going to keep it practical, and most importantly, we're going to keep it duplicatable. And why do we want to keep it simple? Why do we want to keep it practical? Why do we want to keep it duplicatable? Because really, the vision is to create 1,000 new millionaires who are using and promoting the Aurum AI finance ecosystem, right? Using it and then promoting it, because the product and the services available on the ecosystem are so amazing. You would want to tell someone that you know, like, and trust. You know, our $1 billion formula, by the way, and you're going to hear this over and over until it becomes you. It becomes part of who you are. And you want to insert what I'm about to say. And if you have a pen, again, write this down. But in every decision, as you start to grow your network, as you start to make decisions on going this way or that way, as you start to teach and to start to grow your network, you want to make sure, whether it's locally to start and eventually you're growing your network globally, here's the $1 billion formula that we're going to stick to. In all 12 episodes, there's a common thread. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a few simple steps. Write this down. We're going to, together, we're going to create a few simple steps, a few simple actions, you might say. We're going to give some simple things that can be duplicated by a large group of people, by everybody. Okay, and they can do what were these actions. They can do it consistently. We're going to talk a lot about consistency right now. So the formula is basically to create a few simple actions that can be duplicated by a large group of people over a consistent period of time. So as you're making decisions on leading your team in this direction or that direction, keep it simple. Take a few actions, simple actions that when you explain it to them, they go, I could do that. You see, if you start explaining as you grow and as you start to learn all about this platform, which is amazing, the ecosystem, and there's more coming, and there's more coming, and there's more coming, right? And it just gets great, bigger and better. And what happens is if you start to try to explain all of that to a brand new person that doesn't know anything even about crypto, you're going to lose them. Right? So we want to keep it simple so even they can understand. And I'm going to talk about that right now. I'm going to talk about that's part of the invitation. We want to make sure that we don't leave anybody behind as we're introducing them to the Aurum Foundation. So we're not just inviting people into a business, by the way. You know, we're inviting people into an entire ecosystem, AI finance. Right? AI finance. We're inviting people into a platform, and we're inviting people into a community. Right? I mean, if you want to have a lot of fun, just hang around, you know, the leaders in Aurum. These guys, I mean, these people know how to have a lot of fun. It's a community and people are helping each other. It's really amazing. And so we're inviting people into an opportunity where AI finance can create value every single day for both customers and also partners who want to build a financial wall around their family that nothing can get through. And that means the conversation is not just about selling something to somebody, all right? It's about connecting to people. And we're connecting people to a system that can really help create for them a daily ROI, you know, an opportunity, a daily growth opportunity every day. We're offering an opportunity every single day for people not only to earn the ROI, but to grow as a person, to grow, you know, better every single day. And remember this, again, if you have your pen, I'm going to tell you, by the way, if I could think of something, I go, wait a second. This is so important that I'm going to say, grab a pen. That means write this down and review it over the next week. Review what I'm about to say. This is huge. And this came from HP. The first time I heard it, HP said, and it's true, it's a fact, but 100%, all right, 100% of every customer and every partner who has activated their XAI bot Okay. Or even now, their gold RWA, the real world assets, 100% of them are earning an ROI, not once in a while, but every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They're earning an ROI passively without them having to do anything because they activated their XAI bot or they activated their gold RWA, right? And that's important because when you understand Aurum's AI finance ecosystem, your invitation becomes even stronger. It becomes stronger when you understand a little bit about, again, you don't have to master the whole, ecosystem in one day or 1 week or even 1 month. It's a massive. But as you do start to master pieces of it to get someone onboarded, your invitation becomes easier, becomes stronger. You're not just asking someone to look at a product or a service. You're really opening up the door to an entire environment of growth, of learning, and of possibility as well. And so the daily invitation that I'm talking about is the beginning of your movement. All right. Of course, if you're a partner, and you should only be on this call if you're a partner. If you're not an Aurum partner, you don't need to be here. All right. Customers don't need to be on this call, and people that are not serious about their future, they don't need to be on this call. But I'm assuming that I'm talking to partners, right? But your daily invitation is really the beginning of your movement and what you want to do. Your ultimate goal is you want to build locally at first, and you eventually want to build a global network around the world, because you might know someone who lives in Jamaica, and they know someone who lives in Russia, and that person knows someone in India, and all of a sudden you've got this network all over the world. That's what you eventually want to do. But you're creating a movement, right? I mean, if you're at home right now watching this, put your hand up if you really want to create a movement, if you want to learn how to create a movement, and if you say yes, and I see you've got your hands up. Oh yeah. If you want to create a movement, it starts with the simplicity of an invitation. All right? Write that down. Write that down. Invitation. We're on week one. Remember, every week we're going to build and build and build. And by the end of the 90 days, you're not going to recognize your organization, right? New people are joining every single day, and then you can get them to start at the pre-launch series. We have a playlist on YouTube, and they can just go through each and every one. But this is week one. So this is the action, by the way. And I said it's an action. The invitation is an action. It's not a thought, right? It's not. A lot of people think, I'm thinking of inviting someone. So, I've thought so much about inviting this person. That doesn't count. That's not an action. But when I'm saying the invitation, it's an action. It's something that you're going to do. It's something that you're going to practice and practice until you go, man, this is easy. I can do this. It's easy. And when it becomes easy, you start doing it and doing it and doing it. And when you start doing it and doing it and doing it, you'll say, this is easy. So now you're a qualified teacher. Right now, you can start teaching what you're doing that is obviously causing your success, right? And this is it. I mean, I hope I'm not the only one fired up here, right? But it really takes your business from that. What I was just saying is that thinking mode that I think I'm going to invite that. No. We want you to get into the doing mode. But the challenge that a lot of people in referral marketing or direct sales have is they're not inviting. There's no invitations going on. There's, how come my business isn't growing? What's happening? There's not enough or not any invitations going out. So again, this is the action of inviting that will move you from hoping for success and onto the bucket of building success. You're building success with the invitation, which is the foundation of everything. So again, this is the action. I'm talking action of inviting that creates brand new conversations, brand new relationships, brand new opportunities. Why? Because you've mastered an invitation. And an invitation for some of you listening to this without the strategy, right, is like, it seems complicated. How is it? No, you're on the wrong show. This is going to be easy and simple because everybody, when I'm going to explain this, you're going to use your own words, but you're going to see how simple it is. And you can start, you've got the whole week to start preparing and to start practicing and taking action, taking notes. And for some of you, you're going to learn it so fast that you're going to be taking the action, you're going to apply it, and you're going to start teaching at the same time because it's that simple, right? So a lot of people, by the way, what do they do? They wait until, what will they do? They wait until they feel ready. I just don't feel that I'm ready, so I'm not going to take action. Wrong answer, right? A lot of people wait until, what do? I've heard, oh, I'm just not confident right now, right? Wait till I feel confident, then I'm going to go get it. Wrong answer. You don't wait until you feel ready. You don't wait until you feel confident with the way and the strategy that I'm going to share with you right on this call. And so a lot of people, again, wait until they know everything. Okay, well, let me give you a clue. If that's you, that you're going to wait to invite until you know everything, well, first of all, you're never going to know everything, all right? Because this is a moving ecosystem. I mean, I just got off the phone with Ahmed, and he is so fired up, not because of what we just announced, but because of the next 3 announcements that are coming that he can't say anything to anybody. You see what I'm saying? It's you will not know everything because there's always something new in the background to make this ecosystem even more world-class than it already is. But the reality is this, right? You don't build confidence first and then start inviting. That's the wrong way to do it. That's the unprofessional way. You start inviting. I'm going to show you on this call. I'm going to show you, but you invite. And as you start to invite, your confidence starts to grow. Oh, you say, man, that was cool. I did it. That was awesome. And then you do it again and you do it again. And then your confidence grows. And what are you doing? You're taking action. You're not just thinking about it, you're taking action, And the more you do it, and the more you start to figure out, this is really easy. This is simple. I can do this, right? You start inviting. And what happens? Your confidence suddenly, boom, it appears. Why? Because inviting is easy. Well, how could it be easy? Because I've done it so many times. I've practiced it in the mirror. I practiced it with my dog. I practiced the invitation with my cat. I practiced with my spouse. I practiced with my friend. I started practicing invitations just to practice with my friends, and they all started joining. I mean, I said, I don't want you to join. I'm just practicing my invitation. Yeah, but that's great. I want to join, right? And that's what's going to happen. So always keep inviting. And the key word, remember in our $1 billion formula, the key word is consistency. We want a few simple actions. Inviting is going to be one simple action that can be duplicated by a large group of people over a consistent period of time. That means once you start, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, but once you start, stay consistent. Keep doing it. Keep doing it again. Do it again. Do it again and again, right? And that's our our $1 billion formula. It's all going to tie in together over the next 12 weeks together, and it comes together like a puzzle that all of a sudden within the next 90 days you feel like a professional referral marketer. It's not someone who invites if you're a professional, and there's professionals. I know who you are. I can see you in this room. We got a lot of professionals in this room, right? With massive organizations already, right? And I know who you are. But these professionals, they're not inviting once in a while. Maybe I'll do it because I feel like it. No, they're inviting all the time, right? And so that's the difference. So you want to become that professional referral marketer. Why? Because it's someone who makes an invitation. It becomes a daily habit. It's the foundation, and it becomes just a daily habit. And so when you invite a new partner to join and you start talking about the importance of the daily invitation, you start taking your experience and say, hey, this is what I do. This is how I invite. It's really easy. I learned a real easy, simple way, and you can do it too. And that person says, oh, it sounds pretty good. Let me give it a try, right? And so again, it's not random. It's not occasional. It's not, I invite once in a while. It's not emotional. You don't have to get emotional about inviting someone. It's something that you're going to do every single day. And an invitation must be made, again, write this down. Okay, see, whenever I think this is important, write this down, right? Invitations must be made. If you want to grow a massive organization, if you want to create a movement, you've got to be inviting every day. And once you get that rhythm down, you're inviting, and new partners start to onboard. Now you're teaching them how you had so much successes because you're inviting. And how do you invite? Then you start to teach exactly what you're doing, how you're inviting. Again, if your invitation is complicated, you can forget it. All right. It's not going to duplicate because the person might say, man, you're so smart. You sound like a crypto genius, a blockchain genius, but I could never do what you just did. And they're out, right? They're going to step back and they're going to say they're afraid. But if your invitation is so simple and they can say, wait a second, what did they just do? That was easy. I think I can do that, right? I think I can. And when that happens, the movement starts. All right. So it's done every day. So let's connect this a concept that I'm talking to a success principle that we talked about last week. But I really want to make a connection between the invitation and a success principle. One of my favorites is a definiteness of purpose, having a definiteness of purpose, having an actual purpose. And what is it? When you know exactly why you're building. Do you know why you're building? Do you know why you're building when you know, and some of you know why you're building, why you're doing it, and some of you do not know, but I'm just going to tell you the difference. When you know why you're building, your invitation just becomes stronger. It just becomes stronger, right? When you know where you're going and you do that invitation, you speak these certain words that are clear, easy, and you do it with a little bit of power because you're clear. Now, people that don't have a clear purpose, what do? They'll hesitate, right? They'll start inviting, but it's and the person can feel it when you're hesitating, right? And if they don't know what their purpose is, they're just doing it, right? They overthink. They worry about, what if I get rejected? They become inconsistent. And again, I'm not picking on anybody, but if it sounds like, oh man, wait a second, I'm inconsistent. I'm overthinking this. I'm overthinking this way too much. Then that's you, right? We want to get you into an action where the invitation, where you're going, why, what you're doing. So again, you want to work on all the time. What is your definiteness of purpose? Let's do this, right? Again, grab your pen. This is going to be important. Let's do this. Think about in the next 90 days from right now, look at the calendar, today's date, and map it out in 90 days or make a note that you're going to do this little exercise, right? And then in 90 days, that's 3 months, 90 days, 12 weeks, visualize how big is your team? How big is your team in 90 days, right? Now you have, let's say you start off with 0. Let's say it's just you, right? And in 90 days, you say, man, I'd like to have a team of 100. Not personally sponsored, but maybe you sponsored some people and you invited some people and they started inviting people because they know how, and they started inviting, and then all of a sudden in 90 days, 100, that's cool. Or some of you might say, no, I need 200 within 90 days. Or some of you are saying, that's not enough. I want to grow my team by 500 in 90 days. And some of you are growing, again, I can see you, I know who you are. You're growing at a lot faster rate, but I really want to include in this training everybody. So whether you're just getting started, this can apply. But over the next, as fast as you can, try to come up with a purpose of where you want to end up in 90 days, not knowing all the training that's coming and the simplicity that's coming and all the building blocks that we're going to build. Have a purpose. And if you have that definiteness of purpose, things will go much, much better for you. You're again, when you have that clarity of this is where I'm going, this is why I'm going, all of a sudden you've got this energy that follows you, this enthusiasm, nothing great in life will ever happen if you don't have enthusiasm. And so if you have a definiteness of purpose, it's going to cause some enthusiasm, right? And I get enthusiastic when I'm on these calls because I know what's about to happen in your organization. Whether you're brand new, just getting started, you got a little team, a big team, a massive team, I know what's going to happen. And that's why I get enthusiastic about this. So again, you're not inviting people because you're desperate, all right? If you're desperate, like you're in the wrong place, right? You cannot be desperate. And a lot of people go out there and they're out of desperation. They're inviting people and they sound kind of like a used car salesperson, right? And they've never been trained on how to do it. So they're just flying by the seat of their pants and they're going to do it this way to this person and this person they're going to invite this way and this person. They got 20,000 different invitations And how do you duplicate that? How do you teach that when your brand new partner comes and says, "Hey, how do I invite people?" And you're going, "Well, you can let me sit down. It's going to be a while because I'm going to give you 6 weeks worth of information of the 20,000 ways that I do it." You're going to confuse everybody. I hope this is making sense, and I hope you're getting a lot out of this call. Again, because you're inviting. We're talking about inviting because you are purposeful. You're going somewhere. You're doing something over and over again on purpose, not by accident, because you want to be someone that's on purpose. Yeah, we're growing our team on purpose. You're not going to find someone that shows up and all of a sudden gets close to the top of the company and says, "Hey, how did you get to the top of the company?" Or "How did you rank up so fast?" And they go, "I don't know. I was just walking around and all of a sudden Aurum contacted me and told." That's not going to happen. People that are moving quickly are on purpose. This is a clue. They don't get there by accident, all right? And so you're not asking people to join or to get involved just because. It's not just because. And what I love about, when the first time I spoke to Brian Benson, when I said, "Hey, what's the vision?" When he told me it's to create 1,000 new millionaires who are using the platform and who are teaching other people how to use the platform, I thought, what a brilliant, this is genius. And that's a vision that I could really get behind, and I can really get fired up about helping other people and contributing to that effort. If it's true that Aurum will create 1,000 new millionaires, not only should you want to become one of them, but how many people within your organization are you going to help? Are you going to assist? Are you going to learn the strategy so that you can teach other people? Imagine if your organization had several people hitting that $1 million mark, and they're in your organization because of your efforts, because of something that you said, because of something that you contributed, right? So you're sharing something because you believe it, and you believe that it can help people and it can help their families, right? Here's the question. Can Aurum, AI financing, the ecosystem, can it help people? Yes or yes? All right, I hope you said yes. Can it help their families? Yes or yes? I heard something just last week that really shook me. It really had an impact because a lot of people in referral marketing and network marketing and direct sales, whatever you want to call it, right, that are building organizations that are trying to help families, they've been ridiculed. Is that one of those things, right? Is that one of those things by people that have only ever had a job? They've never tried something as an entrepreneur. They've never gone out to try to help other families. They've never gone out to try to teach and grow a network, but they've ridiculed the industry for years. All right. Now you want to grab a pen for this because I said this had a big impact on me. But let me say it very, very clear, and I'll go slow for the translators because this is probably the most important thing I'm going to say as you move forward in your invitations and you get something like some person who's never tried, or maybe they tried, but they had no training, they didn't know what they were doing, and they failed, right? But here it is, right? If your sole source of income is with your job, right? 100% of your income is coming from your job. You hear this? If 100% of your income is coming from your job, you are one step away from poverty, my friend. You're one step away from poverty. All right? So when someone says, is this one of those things? First of all, they don't know what one of those things are because they've never participated. They just heard someone say something, who said something, who said something. But if that person who speaks those words with no idea what they're talking about, it's the most amazing industry that you can get started for zero, almost zero, and build yourself a $1 million fortune or whatever you want, right? There's no limits to how big you can build. And I don't know of another industry in the world that's even possible, right? So when someone says something like that out of ignorance, here's a line for you that you want to write down. You might say, look, if you're only depending on your job as your sole source of income, you're one step away, my friend, from poverty. You get that? What happens when you lose your job and you have no skills? You have no skills. You have no skills to help other people. You're going to be in some big trouble. And that's what's happening right now to many, many families. And so the timing of having a referral marketing system, of having something so easy and simple could not be better. All right. Could not be better. I mean, in 2008, I started a venture in 2008 when the financial crash hit. You know, times were tough, just like today, right? Times are getting tough. They're getting more difficult. And we started a little marketing concept and grew from zero to $1 billion in combined sales in a 5-year period. Because people were suffering. They needed to generate income. And we had something so simple and so easy that we were able to teach a lot of people how to keep it simple, that it grew. Like a rabbit farm on a hormone diet, all right? Brian Benson likes that one, right? Imagine a rabbit farm and you put them on a hormone diet, how fast that rabbit farm is going to grow, right? And so what we're talking about here is that the question that you want to ask yourself is what you're involved with in Aurum is and how you're presenting it. Can it really help people? Can it really help families? If the answer is yes, good. Now you just got stronger, right? Because we're really going to help a lot of families, you know, and that changes everything. All right. And once you have something that you know you're going to help people, all of a sudden, it's not just because you need to make money. Right? People that are chasing money are going to chase money. The only way you're going to grow a large organization if you help enough other people get what it is that they want. If you help people through your skills and through your learning, start to help other people, start to teach, start to mentor, you know, start to coach other people on how to grow, on how they can do it, start to encourage other people, you're going to grow bigger, better, faster, stronger than you know what to do with. So I want you to ask yourself these questions as we continue. Ask yourself the question, for example, why am I inviting in the first place? Why am I inviting? And who am I inviting for? Ask yourself the question like, what future am I building through the Aurum AI finance ecosystem? What is my future? What am I seeing in the future from what I'm doing? And get clear. You don't have to be perfect with your answers day one, but you want to keep on asking those questions until it's so clear that we can wake you up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and you know why you're doing it. You know what your purpose is, right? It's clear. You know, when that happens, something magical happens. I can't really, well, I'll try to put words onto it, but when you're clear, and we're talking about a principle, a success principle of having a definiteness of purpose. But when you have that clarity, that definiteness of purpose, what happens is people feel your authenticity, that you're authentic, that you're real. Why? Because your purpose is so strong within you. When you're talking to them, you're sincere. You know, you really know that you can help them. You really know that not only can you help them if they want to just become a customer and make an ROI, beautiful, right? But if they want to grow a network, if they want to start growing locally and maybe you're authentically saying, I can help you, right? We have a training platform. We can help you. And that becomes authentic, and that's like a magnet. Now you're a magnet, right? Now you're attracting leadership. So let me just talk about what's the next step that we can do is really get into some practical actions that I'm going to talk about. What are the practical actions? This is where, again, you want to pick up your pen and start making notes and get to the recording and watch this episode over and over and over until you understand. I didn't go fast, but I'm setting up the training in a certain way to make sure that people can grasp what we're talking about in an easy and simple way. So this week, I want you to think about your action step. We want to keep it, remember, a few simple actions, but we got to take a few simple actions. That's the first part of their $1 billion formula. What is the action? What are the simple steps that we want you to do every day to connect with new people? You know, it might mean, for example, sending a message, a text message. It might mean starting a conversation with someone. Okay, it might mean, for example, you did have a conversation, now you're going to follow up with someone. It might be sharing an update, and there's a lot of updates coming that you'll just be able to share the update, right? That's a communication. That can start a conversation. It might mean helping a new customer set up their XAI bot. It might mean helping a customer figure out how to go from fiat money to crypto so that they can make a deposit. Okay, does this make sense? Is this making sense? It could be onboarding a brand new partner and helping them to get started. You know, making sure everything is set up, that they're ready to get their enterprise started. It might be just making a connection, a brand new connection that could open up new doors for you. All right. So the key is, again, what I'm talking about here is the key is not to get complex. It's not to get technical. It's not to get complex. If you find that as you're going down this process that you're getting complex, that you're using technical jargon, that you're complicating things, it's okay, but just stop doing that, right? Just say, hold on, catch yourself when you're complicating things, and just know it's not going to, you might have success doing it, in the short term, right? But that's not going to duplicate because it's complicated. And the person that you're bringing on, they didn't understand a word you said, right? But because you complicated it so much, they can't figure out what just happened. I hope this is making sense. And again, part of our $1 billion formula, we're going to have this pretty well on every episode. We're going to be talking about these simple actions that can be duplicated by a large group of people, but what? Over a consistent period of time. So the key in this process is to be consistent, by taking that few simple actions that can be duplicated by a large group of people over a consistent period of time. Consistency. Your goal for this week in the next 7 days, write this down. It's not to do everything. That's not your goal this week, right? You don't want to do everything. You just want to, I'm going to give you a formula right here. And your goal is really to do 2 simple things every day that moves your business forward. 2 simple things. Maybe 2 conversations. Open up the door to 2 new conversations. Maybe 2 invitations. I'm just giving you some ideas. Write this down. And you can say, no, well, I did 1 conversation and 1 invitation. Or maybe you do 2 follow-ups. Okay? Or the key is that we want you to be thinking, can I take 2 steps a day? Can I introduce? Can I invite 2 people, 2 brand new people, 2 brand new people? And if the answer is, yeah, I could do 10, great. But you can't be consistent. 10 a day or 100 a day. I'll invite 1,000 people. Yeah, but you can't do that consistently. We need the formula to apply. But who could do 2 steps a day? Who could do 2 invitations a day? Who can send 2 messages a day? Everybody. You see, so when you explain this, and I'm going to give you some numbers in a second that'll blow your mind. Let's do the math. Let's just do the math, because I was going to wait and do it later on, but let's just do the math and keep this easy and simple so every single person on this call can duplicate 2 a day consistently over a 90-day period, because we're talking about 90 days. That's 180 invitations. That's 180 connections. Are you listening to this? It doesn't sound like a lot, does it? 2 a day. It's 180 connections that you've made. Right? Out of the 180 people, how many of them do you suppose are sick and tired of having their money sit in the bank doing nothing for how many years now? Well, they know that money that's sitting in the banks are using to make millions and millions of dollars. They're doing it. And we all know that, right? How many people of the 180 are going, you know what? Never thought of it that way. Can you see what I'm saying? But what if you have a team of 10? What if your team right now, you have 10 people, and in your group, maybe you sponsored 3 or 4 and they sponsored a few, but your team has 10 people, and you get together with them and say, look, let's just do 2 a day. Let's invite 2 brand new people a day. Everybody, let's lock arms and let's make a commitment for the next 90 days. Let's go, right? And that's 1,800 people. That's 1,800 connections in 90 days. 1,800 connections. Out of 1,800 connections, how many do you suppose are sick and tired of having their money sit in the bank doing nothing, right? I mean, well, okay, I know. Some of you have teams of 100 and even 1,000, but let's just for fun, let's say your team right now you have 100. That's why these calls, it's important. It's important. It's a must to bring your team on this call. Imagine if they're hearing this too, right? And if they're not on the call, get them to the replay as soon as possible. Make sure they listen to week 1. It's the foundation, right? But what if you've got a team of 100? Well, if you have a team of 100, again, not you personally sponsoring 100, maybe you sponsored and you invited maybe 6 or 7 people, and they invited a few, and they invited a few. Now your team is 100, and you get together and say, hey, everybody, let's commit to introducing or to do 2 invitations every day. And over 90 days, With a team of 100, you've got 18,000 exposures. With a team of 100, you exposed 18,000 people. Do you think a team of 100 can make some noise over the next 90 days, just mastering this simple concept of inviting? Just inviting. And I'm going to go through with you step by step. I cannot be the only one excited about this. I cannot be the only one fired up because I already know what's about to happen. I already know that some of you are on this call just getting started and you can already see, oh my God, this is pretty cool. And I already know you've got some, and I know there are people on this call that have a team of 1,000. Now, of the 1,000, how many people are on this call? I can ask you as a leader, you've got 1,000 people in your organization. How many are on this call, this training? Imagine if you have a team of 1,000 and you lock arms and say, everybody can do this. 2 a day. Let's everybody commit to exposing 2 new people a day. Everybody can do this consistently. A few simple actions that can be duplicated by a large group of people. There's 1,000. That's a large group of people over a consistent period of time. They don't get tired. You can't get tired of inviting 2 people a day. It doesn't matter how many jobs you have. You can invite 2 people a day, but that's 180,000 exposures in the next 90 days. 180,000 exposures. And we have people on this call, I can see you, I know who you are, that have tens of thousands of people on this call, right? And imagine to you guys, the big whales out there, if your organization just understood 2 a day, okay, I can't do all the complicated things, but 2 a day, inviting 2 people a day, I can do that, right? Just think about what's going to happen over the next. So 2 a day is the concept. 2 a day is the concept. Why is it 2 a day? I know I can hear some of you are saying, I'm going to do 10 a day. Do 10 a day, but don't teach 10 a day. You go ahead and do 10 or 15 and see how many days in a row you can do 10 or 15. All right. Eventually you cannot keep up to it, but go ahead and do it. Just don't teach 10 a day. Just don't teach 500 a day. Don't teach that stuff because you cannot do it consistently over a long period of time, right? But 2 a day, there's not one person on this call that says, I can't do that. I can't invite 2 people a day, right? And this is how your momentum will start. This is how your momentum begins with a simple concept. How easy is this? Just do 2 a day. 2 a day. Again, you do 10 if you want, but it's 2 a day. It's 2 a day. It's like a mantra. And remember, this is not just about the business side. We're not just talking about the business side. We're not just talking about the opportunity. It's really about helping more people discover how Aurum works. What is Aurum? It's for everybody. Not everybody is going to want to build a financial wall around their family. Not everybody is going to want to learn how to do 2 a day or invite, and not everybody is going to do that. Some people, like I said, they're going to become customers, and there's nothing wrong with that. They can still, as a customer, the question is the product, is the platform amazing if it's just a customer? Yes, the answer is yes. Is there a difference between a customer, what they earn on their daily ROI, and what a partner earns? No, it's the same. A customer is going to earn the same as a partner. The difference is the partner is going to earn from growing a network. The customer is not interested in growing a network. They're not interested in growing the ecosystem. But you want to talk to people, talk to the people about how the ecosystem works and the support that we have and the growth and how AI finance can really create daily opportunities for everyday people. You don't have to be a crypto geek to get involved with Aurum. You don't have to be a trading expert to get involved with. You don't have, and that's the fallacy. That you don't just have to be looking for a certain type of people. It's everyday people that if they only knew that for as little as 100 USDC or USDT, they can get started on a journey of continually earning ROI every single day, they would be fired up. They just don't know about it. And that's why the invitation is so important. So what we want you to do is we want you to stay connected. We want you to stay consistent and stay active every single day with 2. So I want to talk now about how to invite people naturally, all right, in a natural way. You want this to be natural, and you want to practice a natural, like a conversation. So let me give you a couple simple invitations. I'll give you some examples, and then that you can practice, and that your that you and your team can actually use. Okay, and you don't need to sound complicated. Don't do that. You don't need to sound technical. You don't need to sound perfect. It's not about that. You just need to be clear, and you need to be confident by practicing, and you need to keep it simple so that it doesn't matter who you're talking to, they're going to understand. So I'm going to go through like a conversation and then just get the concept. You don't have to have word for word, but you just have to get the concept of what is he talking about? How does this invitation work? And I would say to you, for example, have you ever noticed that you could write down? Have you ever noticed? Isn't that cool? As soon as they say, have you ever noticed? They're going to say it in their mind, because noticed what? Have you ever noticed that most people aren't happy about their money that's sitting in the banks and they're receiving practically zero or close to zero returns? Have you ever noticed that? That's the beginning of a conversation. That's the beginning of a conversation. They're going to say, yeah, and then now you're engaged. Now you're engaged in a conversation. And we all know that the banks are using their money to make more for themselves, and they're certainly not sharing the profits that the banks are making. They're not sharing it with their customers. You see how this could lead to, oh man, and then you just introduce them to maybe a live event that's coming up on Zoom where you can introduce them to Aurum and let a speaker introduce them to, there's a lot of great presentations, a lot of languages out there that person is on a live Zoom, and we've got recordings that they're going to explain it to that person. That's all. That's your invitation. You're inviting them maybe to a live Zoom. Maybe you're inviting them to, hey, to learn more, hey, watch this replay of a Zoom, or watch this replay and let's talk after. Can you see how simple that is? You did a 30-second invitation, and you invite them to watch a replay or invite them to a live call, or send them a PDF, or send them some information that they can take a look at, or send them a video. You see what I'm saying? And so your part was like 30 seconds. It's not your role as an inviter is not to explain the whole thing. Like, if you do that, you're just not going to duplicate, because the person says, hey, that's great, but I can't explain it like you just did, right? But if you let the system work for you, you're going to see how easy and simple this is, and how fast that your team starts to duplicate. Let me give you a couple more examples. You could say, you could say to someone, like, for example, maybe you're in a conversation. Again, it's a conversation. It's not a sales pitch. You're not trying to sell or convince them about anything. You're bringing them a gift, but have you heard about AI finance? I was just in Cannes, France, with all the geeks, right? Ethereum is a big Ethereum community event, and there were geeks, and I was nervous because I'm not a geek. I'm just a guy trying to figure all this out, right? But they're geeks, and I asked them. I said, what's the hot thing coming up on the blockchain? And everybody was saying the same thing. It's AI. It's AI. And then I asked them, have you heard of AI finance? And they looked at me like they were watching a ghost. It's going, AI finance. They didn't know. Even the geeks don't know what AI finance is. And here we are sitting here just at the beginning. I'll tell you what, within a year to 18 months, AI finance, every household is going to know what AI finance is. And Aurum is leading that charge. Aurum is developing this whole platform as AI finance, right? So you could say something like, well, Aurum's developed a platform where AI is actively analyzing market opportunities, but they're not only analyzing the opportunities, the AI is doing that, right? But all of a sudden they see an opportunity, they can execute a real trade in real time while you're sleeping, or you're on the beach, or you're having breakfast, or you're having dinner, or you're out with your friends, or you're introducing someone, and that trade is executing. And it helps to grow the crypto accounts instead of letting the money just sit idle in the bank. Does that make sense? It's again, I'm not looking for word, but I want you to kind of understand the concept of what we're talking about. Just the concept, and go back and rewind and watch it again and watch it again. You use your words. Keep it simple. Don't complicate this. Another example might be something like, would you be open to taking a quick look at Aurum Foundation, right? And what the Aurum Foundation is building. And they might say, well, what is it? Well, it's an ecosystem, and it's something called AI finance in a way that this ecosystem, what does it do? It creates real value, real ROI, real returns every single day. And Aurum shares its ROI, its return, with their customers. and those who deposit and those who provide capital, it shares it back. Imagine that. That's amazing. Does your bank share it back? No, right? Can you have fun with this? Do you get the idea? Do you get the concept? You feel the energy? How that's the invitation. It doesn't get more complicated. If you complicate it more, now you've got their attention. Now you can point them to a presentation. You don't have to be the presenter. There are some on the call that you're doing presentations 4 or 5 a week. Great, right? That's great. But not everybody is comfortable with the presentation, but we can just now point them to a live Zoom. We can point them now to a recorded maybe presentation and let the presentation explain it to them. And then after they watch the presentation or you watch it together, now you can have a conversation. They might say, wow, this is awesome. How does it work? And now you start teaching them. You help them get started. You take them through step by step. And they're thinking, what did that person just do? They just said something. I don't even remember what they said, but all of a sudden I'm watching a video and that video explained everything. Or I'm on his live Zoom and it explained it so clear. And now I said, yeah, I'm interested. And then they helped me get started. They could say, hey, I could do that, right? I can do it. Because whatever you do to them, they're thinking, can I do this to my friends? Can I take these actions? And if you do what I'm showing you, to invite, and then point, invite, and let the system do the heavy lifting for you. Or you might say something like, look, I'm a part of a project. It's awesome. It's called Aurum Foundation. And what we're doing is we're showing people how the AI finance, how their AI finance and their ecosystem can work together to create daily opportunities and daily ROI. Would you like me to send you a short video to overview? Would that be interesting to you? And yeah, they might say, tell me a little bit more about it. And then you could tell them a little bit, but then point them to the information and let the professional presentations do the heavy lifting for you. So you're not spending 4 hours, looking like a fool trying to explain, all the things that the blockchain and all that stuff. You don't want to go down that road, right? And so those are the simple examples. I mean, again, if you kind of get the idea, you're golden. I mean, if you get the concept that you're just trying to give them a little potato chip, right, out of the bag of potato, you're just giving them one. And if they say, oh, this is really good, then you want to point them to the information, let that information do the work. The goal is not to make the invitation long. You don't make the invitation long because it's not duplicatable, right? The goal is to make it easy to start a conversation that leads to a professional presentation, that leads to a more organized presentation, right? So the next thing I want to talk about, and we're going to wrap up here, is the invitation should never feel heavy, right? It's got to be, and when you practice your invitation, right, practice it in a natural way. You should feel confident when you do the presentation. It should feel even simple. And you're going to say, Shane, it can't be that simple. Yeah, that's the magic. If you keep it simple, that's the magic. That's how you're going to go scaling. I mean, scaling. You're going to grow your team faster than a rabbit farm on a hormone diet if you keep it simple. You're not trying to convince people. You're not trying to pressure people into something. That is crazy stuff, right? Don't do that. They'll run away from you, right? If you do that, right? You're not trying to force people. Don't do that. You're just simply, imagine it, you're just opening the door to the beautiful ecosystem that Aurum has put together on your behalf. It's amazing, right? It's like I said, I talk always about if you see a good movie, right? And you're just opening up the door to say, hey, you should check out that movie. Very simple. You don't have to be the producer. You don't have to be the actor in the movie. You don't have to be the editor and the director of the movie. You just have to say, hey, I'm inviting you to go watch a movie. It was really good. I liked it. Right? So you're kind of having that same concept, right? And when you learn how to invite with confidence, because it's so simple, you build up your confidence, your business begins to breathe. Your business begins to breathe. A new energy comes in. New people start coming in. New opportunities start to appear, right? But it's just the start. It's just the first step of learning how to invite properly. And what does this mean? Right? Now, this is important. This is where you want to roll up your sleeves, grab a pen, because this is where the duplication, right? We want it to duplicate. This is where the duplication becomes powerful. If your team, if you really, really want your team to grow, all right, you got to teach them the same simple action. You got to teach them the same rhythm so that as you start to learn the simplicity of an invitation, now you're pointing them to a presentation, you learn. As you start to learn the simplicity, you start to teach that simple. When you hear one of your partners getting all complicated, you got to say, hey, listen, man, that might work for you, but it's not going to duplicate, right? You can kind of coach them along, right? And you don't need 10 actions. You don't need 27 different actions. You got to follow these 27 steps, and that's crazy, right? You need a few simple actions. What we're talking about here is the foundation about invitations, and you might have a couple. You might have this invitation, I like to do it this way, and a little invitation, but if they're more than 30, 45 seconds as an invitation, it's too much, right? Just short little invitations. So you can practice, have fun this week, that's what you're doing. But if they can repeat what you're talking about, if they can repeat the invitation, every day, and if they can keep doing it consistent, if you can get consistent at this invitation over a period of time, if you're doing it consistently, this is magic. This is where and that again, we're building, imagine the foundation that we're building by teaching the simplicity of the invitation. So the daily invitation is one of the easiest things to duplicate, but it's also one that most people have never learned, right? And and where they struggle with growing a network is because I would say, well, tell me your invitation. And they look at me like they've seen a ghost or something. What do you mean? Well, how do you invite me? If I'm a new person, what do you say? And they're going, I know you're not making any money doing that. Your invitation's got to be like this, easy, simple, conversational. Write this down. My invitation is conversational. Conversational. It's a conversation. You could meet a brand new person you haven't seen in a while. You can run into someone you haven't seen in a while. You can call someone that you respect and they respect you, and you can have a conversation. And all of a sudden, you ask them this question like, hey, have you ever noticed? And you start talking about the banks. Every single partner that's on this call right now, whether you're watching live with us together or you're on the YouTube replay, everybody can do this. Everybody can do this. Every new partner can learn what we're talking about. Every serious builder can repeat this. Every professional can also teach it. Everybody can do this, right? We don't leave anybody behind. And I'm excited about what I'm seeing out there. I'm excited about the growth that's happening. I'm excited about what's about to happen. And this is why this first week, week one, this is why it matters so much. This is why in a month from now, in 2 months from now, in 3 months from now, as new partners come in, you say, hey, start at week one. Don't miss week one, because I'll explain it to them, man. Imagine if you can take me everywhere with you to explain the invitation, right? To give them the reasons why invitation. So you can say, hey, go to YouTube, go to Mastery. We have a playlist. You can start off at the pre-launch and go to week one. Well, don't miss week one. This is the invitation. This is how we do it here. This is how simple it is. And they start watching this presentation. They go, man, I could do this. And now you're on the same wavelength. Now we've got, doesn't matter what language you speak, we're on the same wavelength, where at Aurum, we keep it simple. We keep our invitation simple and let the professional presentations, as you're practicing your presentation, if you want to do the full presentation, you practice, and then you can start, doing your own presentations down the road, right? This is why week one matters so much. If your team learns how to invite every day, just like you're learning now, then your team learns how to move every day, right? You got to imagine your team is moving every day. That's called growth, and when your team moves every day, business just begins to grow steadily. It's growing. Boom, 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 boom. It's growing steadily, right? And when that business, is connected to the Aurum ecosystem, and people understand the role of AI finance, they start to kind of see what's happening in AI finance and that we're leading the way. The picture just gets bigger and bigger. The message becomes even stronger, and it becomes even more exciting. So I'll just say this very, very clearly. This is alive. You're on right now live. Congratulations. This is where the energy is. This is where you can feel the energy. But if you're listening to the replay, it's on YouTube. We're here. We're here together in real time, building energy, building rhythm, and we're certainly building momentum as a global team, right? Together. And we're doing it in multiple languages. That's why the live every Monday, that's why the live is so important, because we have multiple languages happening simultaneously. Thank you so much, all the translators. But when you're watching the replay, it's only available in English right now, and hopefully we'll be able to do something to get all the languages to have this crucial information for the replays. So after the live call again, training's posted. All you got to do is go to YouTube, Aurum_Foundation. You'll see a playlist. Look for the playlist so that you can review it again and again. You can study it again and again. You can use it to train your team over and over and over. And again, that's why the replay is so important. That's why we want these on a replay in case. Imagine how many members of your team are not on this call live, and you're going, "Oh man, what would the value be to you?" Yeah, I'm talking to you. If your entire team was listening to this message, do you think it would help your team, right? And how many are kind of disappointed that not more people on your team are on the call, right? This is how it works. The repetition as you go over and over and you start practicing your invitation, what it does is that's what creates the mastery. And the mastery is what creates the duplication. And so here's your challenge as we wrap up week 1. Here's your week 1 challenge. Grab a pen, write this down for the next 7 days. I want you to make 2 intentional invitations every single day for the next 7 days. 2. If you make more than 2, congratulations, wonderful. We're not going to broadcast it. But if you can say, yes, I got 2 invitations in. Yes, I got 2 invitations. And starting right now, right? Starting today, depending on what time it is, but you got time to make 2 invitations, send 2 messages, connect with 2 people. And you keep doing that every day, 2 a day, 2 a day. Start 2 new conversations every day. What you want to do is you can also follow up. You know, if you're not introducing someone or you're not inviting, you can follow up with someone that you already mentioned and they maybe saw the video, maybe follow up with that person or help 2 brand new partners get started or customers get started, set up their accounts, right? You just focus on 2 actions every single day and write down your results. Write down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Write down your results. How did you do? Did you hit your target of 2 a day? You know, did you go the extra mile and maybe do a third? You know, make notes. And so you can see what habits that you're developing and what the results are going to happen. And also encourage your team to commit to the 2 a day concept, right? Just commit. Just say, look, we're doing 2 a day. It's called 2. What is that? We're doing 2 actions a day. The first thing is we're going to do is the simple invitation, and we talk conversational. Again, this is not about pressuring people. This is really about practice, practice, practice. So in the next week, I really want you to practice your personal invitation. Keep it natural to you. Make sure that you believe. Make sure that you have a focus on where you're going over the next 90 days and get the 2 a day habit, you know, turn it into an action. Turn it into not just a thought of doing 2 a day, but actually doing 2 a day because the habit of action is really what creates your long-term success. It's the consistency of that action. Most importantly, the 2 a day concept is something that every single person can do. And so that's it. I want you to, to give your team an assignment also, make sure that you're teaching your team one simple invitation script, have a conversation with them, role play it, make it easy, make it clear, make it repeatable, and ask each partner to use the invitation, to practice the invitation, to discuss, to talk about a story that, hey, this is what I did, and they kept it so simple. That's what duplication is all about. So just hearing it, is not enough. You want to use it, you want to apply it, not just, oh, I understand it. You want to be repeating it and again, learning and teaching it. And so with that, next week, by the way, we're going deeper into how to build belief, right? And how to communicate value in a way that people can understand and they can feel the value. And that means that week 2 is going to help you become even stronger on how you present yourself, stronger in your message and your opportunity and your team and your network and how it works, right? So I want you to come back next week live, bring your team with you. Make sure that if they were not on this call live, that you get them to watch the replay before the beginning of week 2. Very, very important. And so that they don't fall behind too much, and bring your notes with you, bring your invitation stories, bring your energy. Most importantly, bring your enthusiasm, for your own purpose. Like, what is your purpose? And when you know your purpose, it just feels really, really good. So with that, we are going to see you next week right here. And let me conclude this episode by just saying, the daily invitation is not a small thing, guys. It's about leadership. It's about a habit. It's about growth. It's about duplication. It's about consistency. And if you can learn this simple concept of inviting 2 people a day, it's going to build daily. You'll realize how, once you do realize how simple this is, you'll be able to teach your growing team with confidence, with more and more and more confidence. So, and again, if you can build your daily method of operation in a very simple way, you can create your own momentum that actually lasts, right? Because it starts to grow. When you start duplicating this, it grows with or without you. Keep it simple, stay focused, stay purposeful, stay consistent, stay enthusiastic. And remember, the next level begins with one simple concept. What is it? 2 a day. And who can do this? Everybody. So thank you for being a part of the Aurum Foundation 90-day game plan journey, week 1. That's it. That's all we have for you this week. And so we'll see you right here next week for week 2 on Aurum Mastery. Now here we go. Let's go.